Good morning, Patreon. As you can see, we're still in the home office. As you can see, the Nazarite vow has expired. Praise Yah. We got a haircut. And as I understand it, this microphone on this laptop gets really loud. So I'm going to not talk as loud as I usually do. And we're going to do our best to answer a pretty long question over here on Patreon. C. Michael Martell. You had a talk recently about those of us who have kids in a divorced parental situation with some distance between them and the ultimate location in SHTF. Is there a way to discuss the larger issues and ideas for OPSEC around those of us who are planning on making the trek to evac those who are too young to help themselves, to get them to safety? So basically, I'm in this place, my kids are over there in that place. I'm going to go get them and bring them out again to wherever the tribe team mag is. Okay. There's several paragraphs here. He says, let's assume for the purposes of this question that the tribe in question has their team in place and enough security to properly protect the base camp, yada, yada, yada. The real focus that I worry about is the operating group who will be well stocked for the trip and what they may or will face making a journey to save other members of the tribe who are remote 300 miles away in a major urban area. How do we prepare as much as we can to face the challenges of the evac in question? As much as we may all want, we can't have everyone in a safe place all the time. We can be idealist, but some have lives that place them in difficult locations at times, and we can't really avoid that in times that appear to be calm before the storm. And some of us who have prepared well for the group at large will not rest well knowing that part of our group is out of pocket through no real fault of their own. We will not be able to morally just sit back and say too bad. We do need to put ourselves out there to rescue those who need help and deserve our help. Okay. What can we do to prep beyond the usual discussing of water, food, etc. to operate as needed to lend support as we need beyond our property border? These are issues that I seldom ever see other communities address. Okay. Barry, you have addressed some of the roving tactics and parts here and there before, but we all need to learn more to be safe when the time comes. Some of the issues I think about but are still unresolved is mobile commo with the longest reach available, what to do if the road becomes impassable, do the kids and moms shelter in place in the heart of a city or try to make it to a rally point with normal communications down, setting up rally points, transitioning through states with unfriendly laws against the Second Amendment, what supplies to bring. Okay, so this is a really long question, C. Michael Martell. You did a pretty good job of providing as much context as possible, which I appreciate, but there's a lot of questions within your questions. This is the kind of thing that if you were here right now, we would spend a day with notebooks, maps, a whiteboard, some Sharpies, some expo markers, and a couple of binders and put together an action plan. So since you're not here right now and we don't have all day, I can give you some highlights as to what would be in that action plan. The first is, I sympathize with you having members of your group, sounds like children and women, who are not, who are in a less than ideal situation. And I understand that it probably sounds pretty brash when I say don't be there. But that is the number one way to avoid an issue like this. So as much as possible, I would be working in that direction. And I get it. I mean, I have brothers that I counsel with who, they have ex-wives who have their children, and not only do they can they not leave the state, they don't want to because their kids are near. And I totally understand that. And so I'm willing to work with the situation here, but it bears repeating that the best way to deal with this is to not be in that situation in the first place. And the reason I say that is because there might be somebody within the sound of my voice who's thinking about making decisions that could lead up to something like this. And believe it's worth doing your best to not find yourself in a situation like this in the first place, because a 300-mile evac, this is an extraction is what we're talking about. That's a lot of miles. So now, understanding that this is a less than ideal situation, which the vast majority of situations in life are anyway, so I don't fault you for that. I have plenty of my own less than ideal situations in my life. Um, let's talk about what a 300-mile evac looks like. The first thing that you need to have, and you need to have it absolutely literally planned out and written out, and I would have an ops plan for this that would be printed out and bound in 2 separate binders or documents, as well as 2 digital copies. Like, I don't have one here, but let's assume that this eraser was a thumb drive. I'd have 2 thumb drives and 2 um, physical copies, and then I would have PDFs as well that were downloaded to things like our smartphones that, hey, even if the grid goes down or whatever, man, I've got an offline PDF on my phone if I needed it. And that document would contain, first of all, our routes, multiple routes, as well as maps in and around all over the place, not just maps of the contiguous area around our route, but if we have to circle around 50 miles north and then cut west and then back down again, I need to be able to see that. And so I would have physical maps, but I would have those routes as part of that kit as well. This is something that we're quite familiar with. We do this at Prosperity all the time for people. And so I would have those routes planned for sure. Now, routes to where? I believe, now I don't know what city you're talking about, but I think that shelter in place should be your first line of defense unless the place that you're sheltering at is just absolutely untenable. And you also have to think about timelines here. How long can you actually shelter in place for, and where are you? Because if you're in the middle of a violent ghetto, that's unsustainable. If you're in the suburbs on the outskirts of a major city, you might have 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, I don't know, right? Because none of us actually knows what SHTF is going to look like. But we're going to, you made the comment that they are in the heart of the city, I believe. I don't know. You wrote a lot here, man. Um, hmm, making a journey to save other members of the tribe who are remote 300 miles away in a major urban area. Okay, so we're just going to assume that it's the heart of the city. So you need to get there, and you need to get there quick. And so what I would do is I would have waypoints pre-established for the people who you're extracting, that if they are here and they want to be moving this way, that you have a route that takes them from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. Now, as you're coming this way, the first place you're going is here, right? Wait, we'll say this is waypoint delta, right? So your packages that are being extracted are moving from waypoint alpha to Bravo to Charlie to Delta. And as you're coming this way, you're going to Delta first and then Charlie. And maybe you guys meet up at Bravo, right? The more distance that they can cover on their own to get out, the less distance that your extract team needs to go in and get them and then get out again. So all of that is going to require lots of maps and lots of pre-planning, because I would pre-position caches at each of these locations for sustenance for these people, whoever, whatever, however. Okay, and you have way more context than I do, so the best that I can do is speak in broad generalities. But I would have the packages in the city start moving towards you ASAP. And so you're going to need indicators amongst your group as to when this happens, then we go extract. And they need to be more than, hey, I'll call you, because if commo is down, you're not calling anybody. So there needs to be a hard and fast list of indicators in this document that you're preparing as well, that when this happens, this team packs up, hardens up, and starts moving, and this team packs up, hardens up, and starts moving, and you guys meet, somewhere in the middle. Understanding that this group that's involving children is going to make far less time than this group that I'm assuming is not. But every mile that they get closer to you is two less miles that this group has to go, because you're going there and back again. So I'd have that figured out for sure. Because you're in an urban center, I would go way sooner than later. I do not believe that things will get better over time in an urban environment. In fact, history has proven that kind of the safety zone is the first 24 to 72 hours in a bad situation in an urban setting. After that, things get crazy. You get people on rooftops with rifles trying to maintain law and order. You get people rioting in the streets. And you have all kinds of unknown and unmarked factions operating in the same areas. And there's a strong possibility for blue on blue. There's a strong possibility for, just bumping into bad guys. So the sooner the better for me. The sooner that this group of packages inside the city can get to the outskirts, the better. You mentioned commo. Yes, you definitely need commo. I would be more concerned about commo in between the two groups, that once they get within range of each other, they can communicate, than I would be with this group back to the city or this group back to home base. That can be accomplished. All of that can be accomplished using repeaters, but repeaters, there's a likelihood that they will go down. Or you can use HF, and I'm not the consummate commo guy. I'm barely the basic commo guy. But as I understand it, you can use HF to accomplish that as well. But that's going to require significant investment on part of your team and yourself in order to make that happen. But something you can look into. But I think it's important that these two groups can communicate with each other, and you have a commo plan as part of your document that includes what frequencies and what commo windows, so that you're maintaining battery, so that you can say at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. we're going to monitor for 1 hour, right? And we will communicate at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. every day, or whatever, 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. or just pick your commo windows, and we'll monitor for 1 hour. And then so if you miss your 10 a.m. window, you got no transmission. The next time you turn your radio on is 6 p.m. and you're listening, and hey, we're getting something. Hey, it's our team. Where are you guys? Oh, we're at Waypoint Charlie. Roger that. We're moving from Delta to Charlie now. We estimate that we'll be there in 2 hours. You guys stay in place, harden up, and we'll be there. And then we're going to probably spend the night, or at least wait till it gets dark, and move out maybe at 1 a.m. And you guys figure all that out. You're going to need navigation with this, not just compasses, but probably GPS as well. And you need to know your route. You need to really know your route. One of the questions you asked was, other than food, water, basic bug out stuff, what else do you see needing on something like this? Well, I think that you're at an even higher risk of armed conflict doing something like this, because you're extenuating the circumstances. You're extending the amount of time that you spend in what will probably be a pretty hot zone if things go like true full-blown SHTF. So I don't like moving 300 miles with armor, but I think in this situation, for me, I would move 300 miles with armor. And it sounds like this is a 600-mile round trip. So that's something. And then your packages that are in the city, do they have armor as well? Do they have the ability to defend themselves if needed? And this is, again, we are not looking for a fight. But if somebody else decides we're in a deadly force engagement, the best thing and the only thing that we can do is respond in like kind. I see this as a convoy operation where this team moves from the base to within 10 miles of the city, and maybe let's say there's 12 guys, okay, and 4 vehicles, and we're going to pick up 4 packages for a total of 16. Okay, so 12 guys, and we're gonna haul ass for 290 miles till we get to 10 miles within the city, and then we're gonna move our vehicles off over the road over here. We're gonna camo them, and we're gonna leave 6 guys in place to basically establish a fob here, where we have our commo up, so our base team, our fob team can talk to our field team that's going to go and extract the packages. We have an element of QRF if they're needed. We have a little bit of resupply if we find ourselves needing that, and then this field team can go and grab the packages, come back to the vehicles, turn around and scoot again. All the logistics come with that. You're gonna need 600 miles worth of fuel at a minimum for each vehicle. Spare tires, you need a bump plan. You need all the things. Can your vehicles tow each other? Do you have tow chains and straps on the front of the vehicles? Do you have, all the things? What are you going to do if you're on the road and your plan is to stop at 10 miles out, and 12 miles out there's a roadblock and there's a bunch of thugs with bandanas and AKs? Now what? Um, I think you need more like 1,000 miles worth of range, not 600, because if you need to meander and pick your way across and go overland, you need the fuel. Here comes a toddler. I also think that, hi, good morning. Did you just wake up? You just woke up? Oh, thank you for the kiss. Hold on 1 minute. I'll be right back.